Admiral Vexthor's three eyes widened in disbelief as the sensor readings cascaded across his command display. The Calraxian Imperial Fleet, pride of the Galactic Empire, hung in formation near the disputed border of Sector 7. 200 warships, each the size of a small moon, bristled with weapons that could crack planets. Yet every commander on every bridge felt the same creeping dread. Something was coming. Impossible, Vexthor muttered, his mandibles clicking nervously. The humans don't have anything like this in their registry. The sensor officer, a young Calraxian named Plix, manipulated the holographic display with trembling claws. Admiral, the energy signature. Its reading is a ship, but the mass, it's equivalent to a small star. Check your instruments, fool, Vexthor snapped. No species can build something that large, not even us. But the readings didn't change. Through the view screen, a pinprick of light grew larger, moving at speeds that should have been impossible for anything of that size. Within minutes, it dominated their vision, a leviathan of steel and composite alloys that dwarfed their entire fleet combined. The human vessel looked nothing like their documented ships. Where human designs were typically sleek and efficient, this monstrosity was raw, brutal functionality. Its hull was pockmarked with what appeared to be thousands of weapon ports. Massive engines, each larger than a Calraxian battlecruiser, glowed with barely contained fury. Strange symbols were painted along its flanks, humanity's ancient warning colors, yellow and black stripes. Incoming transmission, the communications officer announced, his voice barely a whisper. A human face appeared on the main screen. She was older, with silver hair pulled back severely and eyes that had seen too many battles. Behind her, the bridge was dimly lit, red emergency lighting casting everything in hellish shadows. Her crew worked with mechanical precision, their faces grim. This is Captain Maria Santos of the UHSV Prometheus. You are in violation of Treaty Article 47, subsection 12. Withdraw your fleet immediately. Vexthor found his voice, though it cracked with barely concealed fear. The Galactic Empire does not take orders from primitives. Your species joined the galactic community merely 70 cycles ago. We have conquered 1,000 worlds while your ancestors were still learning to make fire. Stand down or we will— I'm going to stop you right there, Santos interrupted, her tone flat and dangerous. Check your registry again, Admiral. The Prometheus is listed as a research vessel. A scientific ship, unarmed, civilian class. Vexthor's eyes darted to his tactical display. She was right. According to all official documentation, the Prometheus was a colony support ship, designed for deep space exploration and terraforming operations. Yet the sensor readings told a very different story. Your ship? Vexthor stammered. It doesn't match any known— Of course it doesn't, Santos said, and for the first time a cold smile crossed her lips. You see, Admiral, humans have a rather unique approach to classification. The Prometheus is indeed a research vessel. We research things. We test things. We build things that make other species very, very nervous. She leaned forward and Vexthor instinctively stepped back from his own screen. Let me explain something about human engineering, Santos continued. When the Empire scans our home system, you see factories, shipyards, defensive platforms, all very standard. What you don't see are the projects in the Oort cloud, the experiments in deep space, the things we build when we're not worried about making friends. Plix's voice cracked across the bridge. Admiral, the ship is powering weapons. Energy readings they're climbing exponentially. Along the Prometheus's hull, ports opened like the eyes of some deep-sea horror. Blue light, Cherenkov radiation from barely contained reactions spilled out into space. The weapons weren't traditional beam arrays or missile pods. They looked organic, wrong, like the ship itself was some vast predator showing its teeth. The funny thing about being new to galactic politics, Santos said conversationally as if discussing the weather, is that nobody takes you seriously. The Empire thought humans would be easy to intimidate. Soft. Weak. You saw our diplomats smiling and assumed we were pushovers. The bridge of Vexthor's flagship was silent except for the increasingly frantic beeping of alarms. But here's what you didn't understand about humanity, Admiral. We smile because we choose to. We follow treaties because we prefer peace, but we prepare for war like it's the only certainty in the universe. Every human colony has bunkers. Every civilian ship has weapons. Every child learns to shoot before they learn algebra. Because our history taught us that hoping for peace while preparing for war is the only way to survive. What? What is that ship? Vexthor whispered. Santos's smile widened. The Prometheus is what happens when human engineers get bored, paranoid, and creative all at once. It's a test bed, a proof of concept. We took a hollowed-out asteroid, filled it with every experimental weapon system we've ever designed, strapped engines to it that violate 3 laws of physics, and named it after the Titan who gave humanity fire. She paused, letting that sink in. And, Admiral, we have 12 more just like it. The tactical display showed the impossible truth. The Prometheus wasn't just large. It was a weapons platform beyond anything the Galactic Empire had conceived. Each of those thousands of ports contained enough firepower to sterilize a planet. The engines could push it to speeds that would let it ram through a fleet like a bullet through paper. The Empire has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, Vexthor said weakly, his last attempt at maintaining dignity. And in those 10,000 years you've grown comfortable, Santos replied. You've forgotten what it means to fight for survival. Humans, we've never forgotten. We crawled out of caves on a death world where everything tried to kill us. We split the atom before we left our own atmosphere. We weaponized diseases, turned the sun itself into a bomb, and looked at the peaceful stars and wondered how to break them. She stood, and behind her, the crew of the Prometheus moved with purpose. Warning klaxons began to sound across the Calraxian fleet. So here's what's going to happen, Admiral Vexthor. You're going to turn your fleet around. You're going to return to Empire space. And you're going to tell your superiors that the humans are not as soft as they appear. Tell them that the species that invented mutually assured destruction, that turned their home system into a fortress, that builds nightmares like the Prometheus for fun, that species is not interested in being anyone's conquest. Vexthor's claws moved before his brain could catch up, entering the retreat command. Around him, the fleet began to turn. And Admiral? Santos called out as the transmission began to close. The Prometheus is just what we're willing to show you. Imagine what we keep hidden. The screen went dark. The massive human ship hung in space, a monument to violent potential, as the Calraxian Imperial fleet, undefeated for millennia, fled like prey from a predator. In the privacy of his quarters later, Vexthor would update the Empire's files on humanity. Next to their entry, he would add a single word that would change galactic politics forever. Dangerous. The Prometheus watched them go, patient and eternal, a reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones that choose not to hunt.